You know, one of the things about being 60, you get to look back at all of the things that you did when you were younger, and you don't realize that how energetic you were when you were in your 20s and 30s. And I look at the things I did and I go, I can't even touch that guy now. Of course, I'm in a wheelchair. I suffer from neuropathy. I'm doing rehab, trying to work on getting my legs stronger, taking testosterone because that was way down after the radiation and chemo. So just rebuilding myself at 60 is tough physically if you just take that one item. But I look back at my career and I started to think today as I was doing, we've created a new coaching program. We started out with a limited number of people that paid $997. They got 100 leads a month. We then took it down to $497 and they got, 50 leads and 25. Now we got it to where it's a one-time payment for $97. There's no leads attached to it, but you get the coaching. And I'm just getting droves and droves of people to come in saying, I'm glad you got a product that was affordable for me because I couldn't afford the $997. I totally get that. But through the process of just talking to people who are just hearing their excitement about getting the help, who are already reading our books in the back office. Here's a book that I did called MLM Big Money. It was my number one seller back when it was my only book I had. And just recently, 2 or 3 years ago, we wrote a book called If Network Marketing is the Game, These Are the Rules. Sherry and I actually wrote this one together. That's why it's much thinner, because she says I talk too much, I give away too much information. Most of it's not necessary. But that book has both the male and a female perspective. So if you are a female, that would be the book that I would grab, because you get to read some of Sherry's insights on network marketing and how it's affected her as a mom, as a businesswoman, and as working together as a couple. So you get both those books immediately. So I'm already getting people to call me back, especially on this book here, because we reveal all of our scripts in this book here, and saying, Robert, I use your script on a text, and I've already signed 2 people up out of 100 leads that I sent out in a text. He goes, thank you so much. Because I haven't signed anybody up all year long. All year. It's December. But he was still going to all the conferences on a monthly auto ship and jumping on the calls, trying to get his family and friends to do it. Ran some ads, blew some money on that, and kind of pulled back, and this was like his last leg. And, he says the $97 membership is now worth $1,000 to me, because that's what I got paid in commissions on those 2 people. So man, that makes me feel good. But that feel good kind of made me go back to think when I was like this gentleman. I was green. I was in my 20s, and I had purchased this money for college scholarship business for $497 of all numbers. And you were able to have the college students fill out a 11 by 17, which was 4 pages of questions, a lot of questions, probably 100 questions. And then we would send it in to someone, and they type it all in, and then they would mail a report out to that student directly of what their money for college options were: scholarships, grants, and loans. Much more than Pell Grant and the here in Oklahoma, the OTAG, and also the government-backed loans. There was private sector stuff in there, so it was valuable stuff. So our cost was $12 on the report, and we were selling them for, the company told us to start selling for $99. Well, we did that, did a mailing, nothing happened. We even lowered to 50% off, or we got a few orders, but it just wasn't happening the way I wanted it to. So I went down to the library and I picked out a book. I found a book just by happenstance of just doing research. Just going, so I need to go here and I need to find out if I can advertise in college newspapers. That's what I told the gal, the librarian. She goes, well, I don't know about that, but here's all the stuff that's good for college. So I found a book that was printed, the directory of all the college newspapers in the entire country. And I just sat there and I go, you got to be kidding me. So I checked that book out, wrote down all of them, probably, like 100 of them. My hand was hurting, so many of them. And creating my own little booklet, then I would call those people, and then I'd put down their ad rates and, when you got to get the ad in, when it's going to run. And this was 1987, 88, something way before the internet. So I started running classified ads. They would be like 10 to 12 bucks for the week. And I figured all I got to do is sell one, and I'm in the profit. Well, I was running some ads, and I wouldn't sell any. So looking in the Income Opportunities magazine, again, doing research, I was just drawn like a moth to a light when it came to making money outside the traditional family printing business. I love the family printing business, But to me, I worked for my parents. And I was too young, didn't have enough money to go out and start on my own, although I have another story on that later. Some of my coaching I did in my middle 20s, late 20s, and started my own printing company through a really unique leverage with no money down. And that came from me researching. But I was going through the magazine, and I'll never forget, on the left-hand side, I ran up all the way down the page, which was brilliant. And it said, I want to be your copywriter. And I normally charge $5,000, but if you'll send me in what you have now, along with a $100 check, I'll review it and I'll give you enough information on it that you can write your own ad copy. And I go, what a deal is that? So I drug up $100, filled out the order form, tore it out of the magazine, sent in the sales letter and the application. Remember, this was a not franchise, but it was a biz op for almost $500 that I bought in there. The deal was we have a proven sales letter and an application you mail to the students. That's what we would do. We'd mail a 4-page sales letter and then a 4-page application they had to fill out. Then we would wait for them to fill out the application, send us the $49 check. We would then forward their application that they filled out, those 4 pages, make copies of it, send it with a $12 check to the company in Pennsylvania. They'd run a report, and zip it out and print it out to them. It took about 2 to 3 weeks. So I sent my stuff into this guy, and I was so excited. And within a week, I get an answer from him. I said, man, you got to be kidding. That's so quick. And within that envelope, it was like a 9 by 12 envelope. Within it was my letter intact. And you could see that he had used one of those openers, little knife openers on the number 10 envelope. And there was my letter I sent to him, the stuff that I'd sent, and my $100 check. And I go, what the hell is going on? He refused to, give me a critique. And then there was a 1-page letter stuck in that. It said, Dear Robert, I want to thank you for submitting your work, but I could not in good conscience take your money, because here's all you need to do. Stop sending the questionnaire, which has 100 questions on it, with the sales letter. The sales letter needs work, and but he goes, but for what you're wanting to do, because I hand wrote it like a 2-page letter to him. He goes, how passionate you are about this. I want this to work for you. He goes, so let's start with this. Mail the sales letter without the questionnaire and reword it so as soon as you send in a check, we'll rush you the questionnaire. And I said, okay, great. I did that, and the orders, the phone would start ringing off the hook. I could not believe it. Immediately like that. And I just hit myself in the head. I said, you got to be kidding me that I didn't figure that out. He says, because those 100 questions are probably taking them an hour or 2 to fill out. And he goes, when was the last time you saw a college student sit still for an hour or 2? Or maybe they had to call and talk to their parents. And I said, you're right. He goes, so they're not saying no to your offer. They're saying, well, I got to fill out the questionnaire first, and you send me the questionnaire, so I can't send you the money until I do what you told me to do. What a revelation for me in my 20s, probably 24, 25 years old. And sat there and I go, man, that's a wealth of knowledge. I just paid $100 to get information that was worth millions of dollars for me. It's because I was willing to go out on the edge and jump off with $100. Why are you sending out $100? Was a conversation with my wife. We don't have that much money in the bank, and I don't know these businesses, do, and, back and forth to the husband and wife and getting in arguments. And that's stress, right? But I did it anyway because I had a belief that I had this thirst of knowledge. So when I'm doing the coaching program today and starting it, I want you to know the premise of it is not just, I'm some evil, greedy, Dr. Blackman is just trying to take your money. That I'm trying to teach you what others have taught me. And $97, one time I paid him $97. I came up with that because I sent that guy $100. Granted, he mailed the check back, but at the same time, I felt like $97 is an excellent price for you to hang with me every month, and for me to give you some of those little jewels that as I just talked about of the hiring the copywriting guy and what he taught me and how that changed the career of my business career. And I started looking at everything. It's just like a kaleidoscope. I turned my business eyes a little bit. I go, wow, look, there's the opportunity. And here it was, a 4-page sales letter and a 4-page questionnaire, and I was mailing them together, and nobody was mailing me a check back or a credit card back because they were having it took an hour to two to fill out the questionnaire. Or the college student said, "Forget this, I'm not going to sit down and do this." And he says, "Take the questionnaire out, just send them the sales letter, and I believe you're going to start getting sales." And he was right. And I started making $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month just by doing that. Now here's the other caveat, something that just blow your mind. And I had a moral issue with this one. I was morally challenged with this process. So I had a journal out. It was probably, something that looked like this, one of these journals. And I wrote in there, name of the person, the date, when we sent it out, and then the company would send us a notification. I want to make sure that it was done. So it was just a little manual checkbook. So I had hundreds of entries in there 1 month. And so I started going back, and I was doing the work about the number of students who had sent me a check or a credit card with the application. Okay, and then I back up. The number of people that had paid me, and then I mailed the questionnaire. Okay, I've been paid my services, and I'm just waiting on them to mail it back to me. Over 80% of the people were not mailing the questionnaire. And I started feeling guilty, and I started feeling a little bit like a crook. And I go, look, here's 100 people, and only 20 of them have sent me the money back. The other 80, I still owe them the report. But I got all this money in the bank. $8,000 is what that was. It was just sitting there, so I put that in a savings account, and I frantically sent out a letter to everybody, and 2 or 3 of those trickled in. I then said, well, I got to call everybody. I called them, left messages. Another 2 or 3% would show up. All said and done, by the time I got done exhaustingly contacting those 100 people, 70 of them never sent back their questionnaire, but they paid $50 to $100 for it. Wow. What a revelation of business and psychology. The psychology behind a sale. The psychology behind a biz op. Behind a business opportunity to find a niche and a need and meet it. But then not being able to meet the niche 100% the way you would want to as a Christian or just as a normal person. That if 100 people send me their money, 100 people are going to get their apps, right? Mailed them a letter, called them, and that dropped it from 80% not sending it in to sending. I picked up 10%. So I just laid there one night because I was in turmoil. I was just thinking about pulling the plug on the entire program. But that was, 90% of my income at that time. And I just prayed and I said, you gotta help me with this because this one's out of my league. And the next morning I woke up at peace and it just said, all these people are over age 18. They all know what they're doing. It's all got a money back guarantee. It's all legal. It's all legitimate. And the fact that you're upset about another adult not being adulting, not acting like an adult, is not something you should take to bed with you, brother, and have a burden over. Because you've been upfront and honest. And beyond that, you're mailing them a reminder and you're calling them. Most business people wouldn't even do that. So your business will be blessed because you're picking up another 10% by your double efforts. And that's where I left it. And I said, if I can live with this, then I'm going to have a really great business. And I did. I had a $250,000 business for about 3 or 4 years, and then we kind of went into a different direction, and that business kind of got saturated with other offers and stuff. So that's what I learned through that process. And so as the coaching session is today is, I want you to, number one, understand that hiring me as a coach is something that I want you to utilize. The techniques and pick my brain. This guy, I didn't have an opportunity to send him an email in 1984, 85, and ask him questions because there was no email. I couldn't even pick up the phone and call him. But for $100, he would give me advice one time. And then I'd send another 100 in. And, every time I got a question back, it'd be another $100. But I understand the lifetime value of a customer. We'll go over that through the coaching. But I want to let you know who's behind this coaching program and the type of value that you're going to get from it, because you're not going to get it from anywhere else. Nobody has done the things that I've done because I've had a passion for being self-employed. I've had a passion for doing it my way. Oh, Frank Sinatra. My dad was like that. My mom was like that. And I'm like that. That I'm just going to do it. And I don't want anybody to tell me what to do. I don't want to rely on anybody else's paycheck, anybody else paying me, because then if they do something wrong, I've opened up, Pandora's box for my family. So I always wanted to have my family on my back, not another man's back. Either good, bad, or indifferent. That was my thinking in my 20s and 30s. So that's why I've done all the things that I've done. I had to be the guy because I didn't trust anybody else, and I didn't trust anybody else in my family. With 5 kids, that's a lot of people, a lot of mouths to feed, a lot of cars to buy, a lot of houses to help out, a lot of marriages. I got three weddings to pay for. So there's a lot of responsibility. So when you come on the program, lifetimemlmcoaching.com. It's for a life. It's about multi-level marketing or network marketing. That's my expertise. And you're getting me as a coach for $97 for the rest of your life. Contact me once a week by email, phone, text, whatever. Once a month, we're going to have a group call. I'll record those and put them in there kind of like this. So that's the program. That's why I'm doing it. And I want you to come on board, and I want you to sit with me, and I want you to ask questions, and I want you to pick this brain. My brain is so hot, it's burned all the hair off. So now what you're getting is just pure energy out of this noggin, and that it's so close to the skin that the answers will come so quickly, and it'll change your business forever. I guarantee you that's the effort I'm going to give you when you come in and be a part of the Lifetime MLM Coaching Club. So come on, let's go to work together. I'm here for you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.